Hi guys, so the SNP are holding their party conference and the Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon caused a bit of controversy for the media and for opposition parties, but interestingly not for members of the public and voters when she said that she detested the Tories. Notice that I say the Tories and not Tories. Sadly, the media took this clip of Nicola Sturgeon saying she detested the Tories and ran with it. First hear the original and then she'll explain in more detail when she was speaking to Sky News.
Is Liz Truss a friend or a foe?
We're political opponents, but I've always tried to work with her predecessors and I will try to work with her. So I would like to be a friend on the basis of the areas where we can work together constructively.
And what about Keir Starmer, friend or foe?
I work very well with Keir Starmer over Brexit. I'm really disappointed that Keir Starmer has thrown in the towel on the European Union and no longer wants to take the UK or Scotland back into the European Union.
Who would you rather have as Prime Minister?
Well, that's not a difficult question. I mean, if the question to me is would I prefer a Labour government over a Tory government, I detest the Tories and everything they stand for. So it's not difficult to answer that question.
So
yes,
you want to see Keir Starmer in
what
number
I'd say
10?
Two things. Firstly, being better than the Tories is not a high bar to cross right now. I think we need to see more of a radical alternative from Labour rather than just a pale imitation. And if you're asking me, do I think either a Westminster Tory government or a Westminster Labour government is good enough for Scotland, then my answer to that question is no.
First Minister, you're live on Sky News. Will you apologise for those comments today?
I was talking about policies and values of the Conservative Party that right now, and for much of my life, have done real damage to people. People in the kind of communities I grew up with and people right now. This is a Conservative Party that was proposing to give tax cuts to the richest.
Doesn't sound like an apology though, First Minister.
Look, we're at an SNP conference right now, and if the biggest controversy is that I don't like Conservative policies...
You said you detested the Tories, everything they stand for.
I don't like what the Tories stand for. I've spent my entire political career standing against everything the Tories stand for. There are people right across this country of Scotland, right across the UK right now, that because of Tory policies are unable to heat their homes and feed their children. So I will not apologise for saying that I stand against those kind of policies. I think many people, certainly most people in Scotland, and I suspect growing numbers of people across the UK, would take a very similar view.
Did she say anything that was untrue here? Because the journalist then went on to call it a gaffe. Perhaps he needs a dictionary to understand what a gaffe actually is. So why does she detest the Tories? Well, she explained it quite clearly here. So why should anyone detest the Tories? Well, 300,000 people have, accordingly to a charity, died since 2010 as a result of austerity in the United Kingdom. The Tories have consistently voted against measures to protect the most vulnerable in society. Check out pretty much any Tory MP's voting record and you'll see for yourself that they voted consistently against raising benefits for those unable to work due to illness or disability. They voted against free school meals for poorer children. They have voted against holding water companies responsible for polluting rivers and lakes. They have supported a tax cut for the rich. They have supported a cap on bankers' bonuses being removed. They have supported measures to make it more difficult for trade unions to operate. They have voted against devolving more powers to administrations in Scotland and Wales. They have voted against giving power to local councils. They have voted for reducing capital gains tax. They have voted against taxes on expensive homes. They have voted for mass surveillance. They have voted against slowing the rise in rail fares. They have voted against measures to deal with political corruption via lobbying. They have voted for restricting the scope of legal aid. They have voted for the privatisation of public services and against lowering the voting age. They have seen the greatest rise in food bank usage and the introduction of so-called warm banks. And this is just to name a few of the policies. They are a party that has consistently planted their flag on the side of the rich and the corrupt against the poor, the disabled and minorities. If you don't detest that, then there's something wrong with you. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.